there, my name is Beth Williams. I'm a yoga teacher and a personal trainer. And I want you to know that yoga is accessible to most people, to most bodies. You just have to find the right practice and the right teacher for you. So many skilled teachers will have had training to make modifications for whatever it is that you have going on, whether it be knee replacements or shoulder injury, that type of thing. As always, please see your doctor to make sure that a yoga practice is right for you. And above all, listen to your body. If you have pain when you're moving, if it's a sharp pain or extreme pain, then please avoid that particular type of movement. Today's practice is a chair yoga practice, and it's designed for people that cannot get up and down from the floor for whatever reason. And so it's been adapted to sit in a chair, to do some of the yoga poses and warm-ups, and we'll also be doing some standing yoga poses as well, using the chair to help with balance. So I just have a standard folding chair that I'm using, and you can use any sort of a chair that allows you to have about 90-degree angle at your knees and an upright posture. So you don't want to be slouching back into the chair if you can help it. So I'm sitting a little more forward from the back of the chair in most of the practice. It's also important to make sure that you have your alignment so that your heels are below your knees and your feet are mostly parallel. So what I see sometimes is people will scoot their feet back so that the toes are weighted and the heels are lifted. Sometimes I'll see people moving their feet over off to one side or one foot staggered in front. So just as a way to start for a seated neutral position, I call this chair mountain pose. This is kind of your anatomical neutral that you'll return back to again and again. Also, another important thing to highlight in this is that you want to have a neutral curve in your spine, in your low back, and really neutral spine all the way up to the head, but I'm highlighting the low back. I'll turn to the side so you can see what I mean. A lot of the times when we sit in a chair, we tend to round the back like this, tuck the pelvis under. The low back is rounded as well, or flattened, and you can see that rounded quality goes all the way up to the neck and the head. So it's kind of in this C position, and like a C shape, the letter C. And so to work your way out of that, tilt your pelvis forward by lifting the tailbone and moving the pubic bone closer to the chair. So that should help there. And then really trying to extend up through the spine, to lift up through the spine, through the crown of the head. You're not forcing your head to go back, but you also don't want your head to be protracted forward. So the best you can, just allowing the head to be balanced over the heart space so that there's no strain. We may use a yoga block or a folded blanket in the practice. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. You can get away without using it. And then a yoga belt or strap. And if you don't have a yoga belt or strap at home, you can use the tie off of your house robe or an old tie that's hanging in the closet if you would like. Okay, so let's start. We'll begin in our chair mountain pose. So heels are under the knees, and your low back is in that neutral curve. Your spine is naturally long and tall. Shoulders are not scrunched up towards the ears. Neither are they rolled too far down the back. They're just kind of in a nice sweet spot here. And the hands are resting comfortably on your thighs. And to begin, let's go ahead and focus on our breathing, a centered breathing exercise that can help you to quiet out the external world and really bring you more into the present, into your body. So you can really start to develop a relationship, if you will, with your body and where you are today in this body. So I'll invite you to close down your eyes for now. Just find a soft close to the eyes. Then we'll begin by noticing the weight of the legs and how the weight of the legs move down towards the feet, and feeling that the feet are becoming more grounded into the earth beneath you, the ground beneath you. And just as you're feeling that sense of being weighted through the feet, can you also feel that your upper legs and your sit bones are growing a little heavier into the chair? And so from the pelvis down, really feeling a sense of being grounded and heavy for now. And at your low belly and your low back, can you start to feel a sense of lifting upwards, as if your spine could grow a little longer and taller, all the way up through the very top of your head. Maybe you feel like you could grow just a half of an inch taller. And you might notice if you're holding on to any tension right now in the face, in the eyes, and the muscles around the cheeks and the jaw. And if you notice that there's tension around the face, the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw, just inviting those muscles to relax. Some of us might not know how to do that, so if you tense your muscles of your face purposely for now, and squeeze the muscles around the eyes and the cheeks and the mouth, kind of making like a prune face where all the muscles draw in towards your nose, you'll really know what it feels like to be tense there. Hopefully you don't walk around like this throughout the day, right? But sometimes we do have a form of tension like that. Take a deep breath in here with your prune face. And then as you exhale, you can start to relax the forehead, the eyebrows. Feel some space come back to the space around your eyes. Allow your cheeks to relax and your teeth to lightly separate. So you're feeling some space between your upper teeth and your lower teeth. Good. And then please join your hands together at your heart center in Anjali Mudra. And begin to notice now that you are breathing. Breathing in and out of the nostrils. And you're welcoming each successive inhale to fill up the spaces of the lungs. And welcome each exhale to empty out of the lungs, the throat, and the nose. We welcome each breath, just as we welcome ourselves, just as we are today, just as we show up to this practice. And however you are today, however you're feeling, welcome that. Welcome yourself just as you are, with a sense of kindness and gentleness. And we'll just take another conscious breath here with hands to the heart. And at the bottom of your exhalation, if you'd like, you can nod in towards your folded hands and in towards your heart space as a way to recognize that you are giving yourself time for this practice today, and that you are practicing self-care. And then you can release your hands down to your thighs when you're ready, and allow your eyes to come to an open. Okay, make any little adjustments if you need to. I know we sat there for a few minutes, and so you might start to feel that there's some achiness or tightness in your back. And so we will work with a spinal flexion and extension exercise to help to start to loosen up the muscles of the back that can become stiff from sitting. And so your hands are going to be closer to your knees. You don't have to stretch and reach for them, but closer to the knees. And then I would like for you to start to bring your chest forward and your shoulder blades towards each other a little bit. Don't squeeze them too much, but just to feel some openness through the chest. And see if you can allow your navel to come forward and your tailbone to lift away from the chair. That's it. Keep breathing. So this is a seated cow pose. We'll just take another full inhale. And an exhale here. And to counter that position, we're going to round the spine next into what's called a seated cat pose. So the hands will slide closer to the knees, maybe even fingertips past the knees. And here you are going to purposefully round your pelvis and your low back, everything I told you not to do at the beginning. Bring your shoulder blades away from each other, your chin in towards the chest. And as strange as it may sound, can you try to focus and deliver your breath into your upper back, in between the shoulder blades, so that you feel some space there. One more full inhale in this shape. Exhaling out all of your air, every last little drop of air. And at the very bottom of that exhale, come back into cow pose. So again, shoulders back, chest opens, tailbone lifts. You'll take a breath in here. And then as you exhale, rounding the back in cat. So we'll do that 4 more times with the breath. Inhaling, shoulders back, chin lightly lifted. Don't let your head hang back. It's just a little bit of a lift. Exhale to round the back. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale to round your back, cat pose. Inhale, cow. Feel that openness in the chest. Exhale, cat. last time through those two shapes. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. And then slowly unravel your spine back up into that neutral mountain pose. Good. Okay, so since I mentioned earlier that we tend to sit a lot, one of the things that I like to do is to stretch the backs of the legs, the hamstrings. Those will tend to get tight from the knees being bent and the hips being flexed for long periods of time throughout the day, and also from the pelvis rounding. So this is where your strap or your funky tie from in the closet can come into hand. Be quite handy here. So I unrolled it and I'm going to place the strap just right around the ball mound of the right foot. And if you can't reach your foot, you can just create a longer amount of space here and place it underneath the ball mound right below your toes of the right foot. And if you're really tight there, here's where you can lean back into the support of the chair. And that'll also give your back muscles a break. And then extend the knee, so straighten the knee and hold each individual tail of the strap into its corresponding hand. And so here, if you want a little more stretch at the back of the leg, even the calf and the sole of the foot, you can pull with the ends of the strap to increase the stretch. You want to make sure it's a mild stretch, not an intense stretch. So also make sure you're not locking your knee joint out, so there's just a little bit of a bend at the knee. Remembering to breathe. And sometimes we hold our breath when we're efforting or trying new things. So if you notice you're holding your breath, you can just bring your awareness back to the rhythm of the breath, and as best you can, try to breathe in and out of the nostrils. Okay, so we'll go ahead and set that foot down. And come back into more of an upright posture. And you can place your left foot into the strap right around the ball mound there. And you can lean back here, lifting the chest, and straighten that leg. If you want less of a stretch, you can point the foot a little bit. If you want more, you can pull with the strap. Just make sure you're not locking your knee. Breathing rhythmically, kind of like the ebb and flow of the ocean waves. If you've ever listened to the ocean ebbing and flowing in and out. I'm fortunate because I live within minutes of the beach, so I kind of have that metronome to sync my breath to sometimes, and it stays with you when you've been around the ocean long enough. So go ahead and bend the knee and sit forward. Well, the next stretch that I like to do is what's called figure 4. It's a seated stretch for the outer hip. Now, some people need a strap here in order to hoist the foot up onto the thigh. So if you have a hard time lifting the right leg here and assisting with your hand to get your ankle up, you can use the strap around the arch of the foot to pull the leg up. You might want to lean back again into the chair so the hip is flexing, and then rotate the thigh out. Try not to move too much from the knee or the ankle. The movement mostly comes from the upper thigh bone. And then once you get it there, you can rest your ankle to your thigh and maybe just let your hand that's holding the strap rest down. If you're particularly tight, you'll probably feel that through that outer right hip to the knee. You know, lift up through the chest. Now those of you that don't feel a sensation at all of stretching through the outer hip, then you may come forward so that your back is away from the chair and just hinge forward from the hips. Try not to round your spine, but rather think of bringing your navel forward and your chest up. That's it. Let's take another breath in and out here. Good. Okay, so we'll switch to the other side. And if you're using a strap, just change feet there. And you can lean back if you need to. And lift the foot up. Grab as close to the foot as you can with the opposite hand. Rotate that left thigh bone out externally. Place the ankle just right at the opposite thigh. Okay, and so we might have a different sensation on the right and the left side. And so you'll just modify accordingly. If you need to lean back into the chair to make that less of a sensation of stretch, do so. If you would like to start to come forward with the navel and lift the chest, you can do that. And we'll take another breath in and out here. Good. Okay, so you'll go ahead and lower that foot down. And just set your strap off to the side. Okay, back into seated mountain pose. Let's work on some chair sun salutations. They're seated sun salutations. That's a way for us to salute the sun in the morning. Even if it's cloudy, we know it's still there. And just practicing gratitude for each new day, each new moment, and the opportunity to hopefully change our perspective. Each day we've been given a gift to do that. So these are called Surya Namaskara, salute to the sun. So you'll start with your hands together at your heart center in Anjali Mudra. And as you inhale, you can take your hands, palms open, ready to receive here. Sweep the arms out and then upwards. So you're reaching up towards the sun. And as you exhale, fold from your hips just as much as feels okay. And you can slide your hands down towards the feet and round your back, kind of like we did in cat pose earlier. On your inhale, slide your hands up to the tops of the thighs. Lift your chest and chin. And then exhale again to round your spine and slide your hands down towards the feet. Now get really strong through the feet. Press the feet down into the floor and rise up on your inhale, sweeping the arms out and up just to a comfortable degree for you. And then as you exhale, let's take our hands back behind us to grab wherever you can reach on the chair. And bending the elbows a little bit, really lifting the chest, and take another breath in here. Good. Exhale. Move your hands onto your knees and round your back. Cat pose. And then slowly on an inhale, unravel the spine back up into neutral. Relax the shoulders down. Good. On an inhale, you're going to grab the right thigh and lift the right leg off of the floor. You might straighten the knee a little or a lot. And then on your exhale, you can bend the knee and set the foot down. Other side. So grab the back of your left thigh. Inhale to lift the thigh, the knee. You might even straighten the leg a little or a lot. Slowly exhale. Set the foot down. And then inhale to sweep your arms out and up. And exhale, take your hands together at your heart center. We're going to do one more of these. Inhale, reach the arms out and up to a comfortable degree. Exhale, fold from your hips, take your hands to your shins. Maybe slide your fingertips towards the ankles a little. Inhale, slide the hands up towards the knees. Shoulders back, lift the chest. Inhale. Exhale to round your back. Slide your hands down towards the floor on your shins. Inhale, rising up to an upright torso. Take your arms out and up towards the sky. Exhale, take your hands back behind you, finding wherever you can reach on the chair. And lift the chest, inhaling here. And exhaling, taking the hands to the thighs, to the knees, round the back, chin in towards the chest. And as you inhale, you'll slowly unravel your spine back into upright, relaxing the shoulders down. And then reach and grab the back of your left thigh. Lift the foot off of the floor. You might lean back. Inhale, straighten the knee if that feels okay. Maybe a little, maybe a lot. Exhale to set the foot back down. Switch to the other leg. Lift the foot if you can there. Inhaling, straighten that knee a little or a lot. Exhale, set the foot down. Back into your chair mountain pose. We'll sweep the arms out and up on an inhale. You might even look up like you're looking to the sun. And as you exhale, join your hands together at your heart space. With your eyes closed in chair mountain pose, feel a sense of grounding down through your sit bones, your legs, and your feet with each exhalation. And with each inhalation, feel a sense of lengthening up through the crown of your head. So you feel the reciprocity of grounding, being more settled in your body and your mind on your exhale. And with the inhale, feeling a sense of welcoming and creating space in the body, in the mind, and in the heart. Excellent. You can release your hands down and allow your eyes to open. So from here, we're going to stand and do a few yoga poses while we're standing. So hopefully you're doing good so far. You could practice leaning forward in your chair, maybe widening your feet a little bit, and see if you can come out of the chair without using your hands to push off. If you need to, that's okay, but it's a challenge. And some people like to take their hands forward with a little counterbalance. So press through the feet, shift forward, and rise up to standing. Okay, good. So from here, we're just going to be moving the chair a little bit off of the yoga mat. So you can see that there's still the back two chair feet on the floor, and the front two, on the mat is what I meant to say, and the front two are on the floor. And that just keeps the chair from sliding because we want to have stability here. And if the chair slides, then you might lose your balance. So I'm going to use the chair here to help to space my feet apart. So if you have poor balance or stability, it's okay if you need to lean forward a little bit, or sometimes just knowing that the chair is there if you lose your balance can really help create a nice sense of security. So chair is there for me if I need it. I'm going to step my feet out. And if you're really tight and weak through the outer hips, you might notice that you can't go, there's a place where you feel like you need to stop. You can't go any further than that. Please respect what your body is telling you, if you will. It's giving you signals and clues all the time. Just a moment, I'm going to move this block just so it's out of the way so you can see here. So right now, I'm going to start with my feet parallel to one another. And so the toes are more or less pointing forward and the heels are pointing back. That's a neutral place to begin for the next couple of yoga postures. Okay. So from our neutral beginning position, next what you're going to do, if it's available to you, is to pick up your right heel just a little bit and shift the heel out and then press the heel down. So now you'll notice that the toes are turned inwards a little bit and the heel is now pointing out. And that also turned the hip a little more internally, and that's okay. You actually want that. And then I'm going to place hands on the chair to help me to pivot out onto that left heel and turn the foot outwards 90 degrees and set the ball mound and the toes down. Okay, so my hips turned out even more, and again, that's okay. So just allow for your body's natural intelligence to help you find where your hips need to be in this shape. So then next we're going to bend the left knee. I'll call this the front knee. And we'll just want to make sure that there's no pain around the knee when you go to bend the knee. And we want the knee to be either a little behind the ankle for those of you that maybe have knee pain, or above the ankle, but try not to lean the knee past the ankle because you can see the whole body goes that direction. And really, if you can keep equal weight through your back foot and your front foot, you'll be more stable. And once you've found that equal weight through both feet, I'd like for you to focus on lifting and lengthening up through your torso. So not just the front of the torso, not just the back of the torso, but can you start to feel even length through the sides of the torso? Good. Sometimes taking a breath in can help you to find that length. Good. Now if you still feel like you need the chair for stability, if you're not feeling stable enough to lift both of the hands off of the chair, then reach the left arm forward and turn your head to look to the left arm. Notice how the arm is parallel here and the palm is facing down for your warrior two. If you feel stable enough to take that right hand off of the chair, you can take it back as well. So both arms are parallel to the floor, both palms are facing down. And we'll just spend another couple of breaths here, inhaling to focus on creating space and length in the torso, and exhaling to focus on grounding out through your feet and down into the floor. On the completion of this exhalation, you can take your hands down to the chair, straighten the left knee, and parallel your feet. So you might put your weight, into the chair with your hands to do that. And if your feet and ankles feel tired, bring your feet in together so that they're about hip distance apart, and that'll just give you a little bit of a break from being in that position for some time. And just take another breath in and out here before you move on to the next posture. Okay, so the next posture, what I meant to say was the second side. We have to do both sides. So, okay, we'll take the feet out wide into that neutral position to start so that the toes are pointing forward, making sure there's not strain or pain in the hips. And then you can put weight into the chair as you need to with your hands. Pick up your left heel just a little bit to start to pivot the heel out, then set the heel down to the floor. The heel is turned out, the toes are turned in. And then we'll change the other foot, so put weight over into your right heel. Lift the toes in the ball mound, so you're pivoting onto the right heel to turn the foot and the toes out 90 degrees. Good. Okay, equal weight through both of the feet. And try to keep that equal weight established as you bend the front knee. So in this case, the right knee. That's it. Okay. Now with that, focus on inhaling to lift and lengthen your torso. And the torso ideally is vertical. I'm using my zipper as a reference to see if I'm vertical in my torso. If you notice that your zipper is kind of off to the side when you look down, or your chest is not right above your navel, that gives you a clue that you're leaning too far forward or too far back. Good. And then you might take your right arm forward and parallel to the floor and look past your right fingertips. You might keep your left hand on the chair for stability, or you might take that left arm back as well, so you're making like a T shape with the torso. Still looking past the right fingers. Let's take a couple of more breaths here. It's okay if you need to go back to the chair with your hands. Follow your out breath to take your hands back down to the chair. Parallel your feet, please. And step your feet into hip distance apart for your standing mountain pose. You might bring your shoulder blades just a little bit back. Don't squeeze them overly. It's just almost like you can just feel your muscles coming slightly in towards the spine, the muscles of your shoulder blades. Excellent. Okay. So the next posture that we're going to do is called diamond pose. And so I'm actually going to be taking the chair now and moving it to the front end of the yoga mat. And you'll want to turn the chair so that the chair bottom, where you would normally sit and face out of, is facing you as you stand. Okay, and we're going to walk up to the chair so that the feet, the toes are pretty close to the chair feet that are closest to you. And you can separate your feet about hip distance or shoulder distance apart, just to give yourself a little more space for the hips there. And standing tall, take a breath in, feeling some length in the spine. And as you breathe out, I'd like for you to bend your knees a little as you fold from your hips. And I'm pointing here to the hips so you can see what I mean. Right at the hip creases, you're folding from there. And take your hands down to the chair here. It's okay to bend the knees. What I don't want you to do, if you can help it, I don't want you to send the knees and the thighs back into a locked position. If you're really tight through the hamstrings, what that's going to do is round your back. We talked about the neutral spine and how important that is. It might feel like a stretch to you, and some people, they're not sure about that. They actually think that that's a good thing. But I think that it's important, if you have tight hamstrings, to allow for a little more space and to bend the knees and put more of a curve in your low back by lifting your tailbone a little bit. And then also try not to round your upper back. So you can have your hands into the chair to really lengthen your spine. And look down. So you're nodding, like you're saying yes. You nod your chin in towards the chest a little bit. So all sides of the neck and throat are long and not compressed. Now from here, step your left foot forward a little more. You'll have to push into the chair to help you to get that foot forward. Okay, keep that. Push into the chair, step your right foot back about 2 to 3 feet. And once you've done that, turn your right heel in internally there and set the heel down. Now both of the legs are going to be straight. Not locked, but straight. Again, try not to tuck the pelvis around the spine. So if you lift your tailbone, return that neutral curve to your low back. Bring the shoulders down a little bit and lengthen your neck. You'll start to feel some stretch here in the left upper hamstrings, outer hip. And then we'll switch to the other side. So you might have to slide the left foot back a little bit just so you have some space to move. Step the right foot forward. And then the right foot will come forward just a little more and the left foot back. And turn the left heel in and set that left heel down. Find your neutral curve by lifting your tailbone and locking the knees. Lengthen your heart space forward, your heart center forward, or your sternum forward towards the chair back, and look down. Good. And we'll step the left foot forward. You might have to stagger the feet and then take them back into hip distance apart. And then come up to standing. Best you can, come up to standing. Standing in mountain pose, eyes forward at the horizon level as if you were waiting for that sunset. Okay, so we're going to finish today with a seated twist and a seated chest opener. So muscles that get tight across the chest sometimes from sitting for long periods of time. So we'll work with opening that up just a little bit more. So you're going to want to use your block, and if it feels comfortable for you to sit side saddle on your chair, you can do it that way. That's the way I'm going to demo. But if you would prefer sitting with your knees forward like you traditionally sit into a chair, that's fine as well. So I'll sit side saddle. And I have a block here, so we're going to use that if you have one. If you don't, that's okay. Or you can fold up a towel or blanket. Put it in between your inner upper thighs like this. So I like to use a block or something in between the inner thighs because it really gives me a sense of keeping my feet glued to the floor, my knees pointing forward, and my pelvis pointing forward. Whereas if I don't have the block or the blanket, when I go to twist here, you can see that for some people, the knees will shift forward, the pelvis will go along for the ride in the twist. And so we're trying to avoid that. When you place the block between the thighs, I want you to squeeze the block with the strength of your inner thigh muscles. See if you can keep that. You're not trying to crush the block, but just enough to feel your strength. Yeah. And then you're going to sweep the arms forward and up, just to gain a better sense of being upright and tall and not slouched forward. Take a breath in here to help with that space, that spaciousness. And then on your exhale, take a twist towards the chair back. And so in this case, as your mirror, I'm twisting to the left, so to your left. And I'm going to place my hands wide on the chair back, like I'm holding a steering wheel. And I'm going to pull with my right hand and push with my left hand just a little bit. Don't overdo that action. So just to help you to find a little bit of leverage, turning your head to look over your left shoulder. Try to keep your head above the spine and not forward of the spine. I'd like for you to come out of the twist on an exhalation. So you can allow your head to turn forward and then your chest to return forward to center. Good. And so if you sat side saddle in your chair, you're going to turn around and face the other direction. If you sat with your knees pointing forward like you normally would in a chair, then you don't have to move. I am going to move my chair though, just for instructional purposes and so you can still see me here. So I'm placing the block again, and I have my chair mountain pose in place, squeezing the block lovingly, not aggressively, just enough to feel your own strength. Isn't that nice? Feel your strength. We'll sweep the arms forward and up and take a breath in to feel like you could grow a little taller through all sides of your torso. And then you'll take a twist. So to your right, the hands can come onto the chair. If it's hard to grab the back part of the chair here, you might scoot back a little bit. And so I'm pushing with the left hand, rather with the right hand, sorry about that. Gently letting the head naturally follow the twist of the spine. Notice I say naturally, that doesn't mean to crank your head as far as you can go. We always want to try to find a comfortable edge, if you will, instead of going all the way up to, the edge of the cliff, if you will, metaphorically. Give yourself some space to be able to view and observe enjoyably. And to come out of the twist, you can turn your head first on an exhale, back to center, then your torso back to center. So we have one more posture today. As I mentioned, we'll be working on just giving a little bit more space in the chest, the pec muscles, the front shoulders, and that'll also give you some strength in your back, the muscles in between your shoulder blades. your rhomboids, your trapezius. No need to move your chair, but you are going to sit on the front edge of the chair. And depending upon the height of your torso, depending upon the height of the chair back, you may have to scoot forward or back on the chair to make this work. So the top of the chair back here, that is going to be where I put my lowest part of my shoulder blades. So ladies, where your bra strap is, the lowest part of your bra strap, right about there, okay? Gentlemen, you know where a bra strap is. So I'm going to lean back here, and I just need to scoot a little bit back to find that the top of the chair is now right at where that bra strap area is, below the lower tips of the shoulder blade. And I just got a little bit of what felt like a little adjustment. So that's not a bad thing. And then I'm going to take my hands down wherever I can reach on the chair. If you're really tight through your chest, you might be grabbing on the chair legs, the angle to the front. And if you're less tight, you might be grabbing on the chair legs, that angle down and back. And I'm not overly going to squeeze my shoulder blades towards each other. It's just a little bit, just enough to start to feel some length from the sternum out through the upper arm bones on both sides. And I'm just going to breathe here and enjoy the breath. You might lift your chin just a little away from the chest. Certainly don't let your head hang back. That creates a lot of unnecessary strain and tension in the neck muscles. For those of you that want to, you can maybe straighten one leg, and if it's available to you, work towards bringing the toes towards the floor. Sometimes that causes a cramp, so finding what works for you. You might switch so that the other leg is forward, bending the first leg that you straightened. And or you might straighten both of the legs. If you're starting to get tired through the neck muscles, then please bring the feet flat on the floor with the knees bent. That just gives you a little bit more stability as you root down into the floor with your feet. One more breath. I'm just going to lean back a little bit more, lift the chest. And then to come out, bend the knees, ground through the feet really strongly like you're trying to sit up. And then let's do just that. Let's sit up. I'm going to turn my chair so I can see you. No need for you to turn your chair if you don't want to. Back into our chair mountain position. Close your eyes, please, as we end the practice today. Giving yourself the opportunity here to recognize how your body feels after giving yourself this time to move and stretch and feel parts of your body in ways you haven't felt before. Maybe you felt a strength that you didn't notice you had before, or maybe you noticed that you had an area in your body that was tight. You might have noticed that there was a limitation in the way that you move. And all of those things are just fine. It's just information for you. So keep that in mind, please, and be kind to yourself in your thoughts. Try not to be critical with whatever you found. Just think of this as a starting point for you today. If it's your first practice, think of it as a way to come back to where you are each day and to learn to accept and love yourself for who you are. And remember that in this practice and the continuing practices of yoga, each time you come back to your yoga mat, that it's all about progress and not perfection. And the fact that you came to this YouTube channel and set up your yoga space and your mat and got all of those things out and listened intently and followed along, that right there is progress. That's beautiful. So I want to thank you for doing just that. And I hope that you come back and try another class, or maybe even try this class again. Hands to heart. And keep your chin lifted, your eyes to the sun, and your heart open. Namaste.